أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي ربي زدني علما. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. I, Shalima, a trustee of Sister Syed Foundation and a host for today's webinar. I welcome you all for today's webinar on Art of Parenting. This webinar is organized by Sister Syed Foundation. So before we begin, let me introduce our charity organization. Sister Syed Foundation was established on 20th February 2019 to uplift the unprivileged of our society. We strive to provide basic amenities to those who are poverty-stricken, irrespective of caste, culture, and race. Over the span of few years, we have provided monthly groceries, rental aid, and medical fund to the individuals and families from below poverty line. We work towards the betterment of the community by donating hospital beds, wheelchairs, building toilets, installing bore wells, providing aid to orphanages and old age homes, planting trees, etc. Standing true to our tagline, your charity, our responsibility, we endeavor to ensure that your donation reaches the right and deserved hand. Alhamdulillah. Now coming back to today's webinar on Art of Parenting. This is a webinar which will focus on how to raise children Islamically, parenting style, and lots more. To present this webinar, we have Sister Syed Ali Fathima joined us today. We're very happy and pleased to welcome you, Sister. Jazakallah khairan for joining us. Sister Syed Ali Fathima is a certified psychotherapist and parenting coach. She has pursued B.Sc Biotechnology, Masters in English Literature, and B.ed. She has successfully completed her training as a parenting coach and a dean. She is currently pursuing M.Sc Counselling and Psychotherapy. She is a former teacher at Alfajr International School. She has been conducting exclusive workshops, one-on counseling, and lots more. So without further ado, I'd like to hand over this session to Sister Syed Ali Fathima. Over to you, Sister.
Jazakallah khairan, Sister. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wahlul 'uqdatan min lisani yafqahu qawli. Rabbi zidni ilma. Assalamu alaikum rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuhu. Thank you for joining this program, and I would like to thank Sister Syed Foundation for joining us together for the good cause. And I thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for giving me this wonderful opportunity to talk about parenting. So before we move on to the topic, let me share my screen here. Yeah, so before we move on to the topic, let me ask few questions. How many of you think parenting in today's time is getting tougher or complex? You can write it in the chat box. Do you think that parenting is, getting tougher today? If no, alhamdulillah. If yes, please write it in the chat box. Why? Like to know the answer, sisters and brothers. Fine. You might think, what is so special about parenting? That parenting everybody knows, and parenting is a wisdom that everybody has. What is so special about today's program that we need to learn about it? Okay. So let me ask a question. Can you be a born cricketer? Or else can you be a born doctor? No, right? Yes. So you need to have some practice. You need to practice. You need to learn the skill. You need to have a lot of practice. It takes a lot of time and practice to get selected in the district level and national level, and then maybe you can be a good cricketer. So for doctor, you need to study hard. You need to get into NEET exams, and also you have to spend 5 years for doing MBBS, and then alhamdulillah you can be a doctor. Likewise, parenting is also a skill that has to be learned and applied in our day-to-day life. So if you feel that you are an amazing parent, but still if you struggle with your child's behavior from time to time, then you're not alone. Okay. So most of the parents, they struggle with their child's behavior. So, and it's not your fault totally. So what outcome do you want from this program? So most of the clients, they come to me asking that, ma'am, for me, my child is not listening to me, and I want to get better along with my child, and I have to have a peaceful home, because daily I yell at my kids, and then after that I feel guilty about it, and so many more. And finally, resolving conflict effectively with the kids, and so on. So mostly the parents, they come to me, it's because that children, they don't listen to them, and they wanted to have a peaceful and happier home. So today's agenda is today we are going to talk about 3 aspects of raising children Islamically: boundaries with kids, that is how to set limits and consequences, healthy boundaries and consequences with kids, and parenting styles and bullying, how we are responsible for bringing a bullying child, and how to respond to problematic behavior. That is, today we also going to talk about de-escalation techniques, that how to resolve this issue, and screen time on kids, and improving parent-child relationship, how to have a healthy bond with your child, and when to get help. So what are the reasons that when you have to approach the pediatrician or psychologist or therapist? So alhamdulillah. So now these 3 aspects of raising children Islamically. The number 1 is tarbiyah. Tarbiyah is nothing but nurturing the kids, rearing. It's about growth. So it is to teach. It is all about religious development and upbringing of the child. So tarbiyah, when you say about tarbiyah, it is to teach our children to be successful in the hereafter by seeking closeness to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, by following the example of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And this tarbiyah is the first 7 years of age. So in this first 7 years of age, maybe the children will learn to discriminate, and children will learn to know or judge the right from the wrong. But it actually starts from the age of 2. So only it starts from the age of 2, and it develops fully at 7 years of age. So the parents should start teaching this small Islamic morals, good manners, and Islamic values, and all these they can start from the 2 years of age, but in a fun and informal way. They should not, bring strict lessons to the children, and they should not be very strict to their children. Please remember that children below 7 years, children until they reach the age of 7, you have to teach your children about all these Islamic manners, Islamic values, but in a fun and informal way. So the next is Tadib. Tadib is nothing but the religious discipline, how to discipline your child. And we are going to talk about how to discipline, and also how to, teach about manners. So you might have heard about, we all must have heard about the saying, Ali ibn Abi Talib, Ali ibn Abi Talib radiallahu anhu said, play with your child for the first 7 years, teach your child for the next 7 years, and advise them for the next 7 years. So this tadib is all about religious discipline, that you have to teach your child about the Islamic morals, Islamic values, and all these you can teach them in the second 7 years of age. Maybe that their children will be from the 7 to 14 years of age. But most parents, what they do, they don't teach them. Like, if some parents, they are so strict, and some parents, they are totally opposite, that they don't teach anything until the people who know about this hadith, the people, they don't want to teach anything to their children, and they immediately start from the 7 years of age about the discipline, manners, and everything. So without any groundwork done and no preparation done from your side, how the children will learn about the Islam, and how the children will develop the love for Islam, and how the children will have the good character. So the children might not be very interested or eager to learn about it. So do play with your children from the birth to 7 years, and also guide them towards the proper conduct and teaching about the Islamic values in a playful way from 2 years of age. If this is done, then your child will be ready to understand about the religious discipline and the manners in the second 7 years of age. So teach about the Islamic manners, good outward manners, and also about self-restraint, that is, which is taqwa, that you have to teach taqwa in this age from the right from the 7 to 14 years of age. This age is so crucial that we have to teach the taqwa, that children should control one's own nafs. So children, they know what is right and what is wrong, so that in this age we have to teach about the taqwa, like children, how can they control one's nafs. And third, we'll move on to talim. So parents, mostly parents, what they do, without doing tarbiyah and without doing tadib, they directly enter into talim. So people, mostly most of the parents, they don't teach, they don't play with the children, they don't teach in a funny way, they don't teach them in an informal way, and mostly they get into the religious instruction diary, that directly that they advise their children. So talim is nothing but advising the children, so teaching the children. So it is the religious instruction. So what we have to teach them in the 7 to 21 years of children, we have to teach them the religion. We have to give them the religious instructions of what to do and what not to do in the Islam. So in Islamically, what is right and what is wrong. For example, hurting others is wrong, and making others happy, or making parents happy is good thing. So they should know what is right and what is wrong. So this is the Islamic knowledge that the children, that they need to know from the age of 7 to 21 years old, so that they, for the rest of their life, they will follow it with the guidance, with the guidance from yourself, and also with the help of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So you have to teach right from you have to give tarbiyah, you have to give tadib, and also you have to give the talim. So there's also a dua for the righteous spouse and children, and that is Rabbana hablana min azwajina wa zurriyatina qurratan a'yunin waj'alna lil muttaqina imama. So the meaning is, O Lord, grant us from among our wives and offspring comfort to our eyes, and make us an example for the righteous. This is from 25th Surah and 74th verse. So next we'll move on to boundaries. When I ask boundaries, most of the people, they know what is boundaries. So boundaries are nothing but the limits that we have to set with the children. So we have to have a healthy boundaries, and the consequences we should have with the children. And why do you think that we should have a healthy boundaries and consequences with the children? Number first, you will know who will be the boss. For example, like if you don't have any boundaries, we don't have any rules, limits at your place, in your house. For example, if you are a toddler mother or parent of young children, if today they are watching a TV or playing at maybe in the time of between 6 to 7, and tomorrow, like if you're making them to sit for the study in the time of the same time, like 6 to 7, but they will not do it. So make it as a routine, make a healthy boundaries, that these are the boundaries, like we will not talk any bad words, we will not hurt anybody, and also make healthy consequences, so that you will know, your child will know, okay, if you make it as a routine, like 6 to 7 is the reading time, then tomorrow also I should study on the same time. If I'm going to ask screen time, mama will not give me the screen time. So the children will know that, okay, whatever, even if I'm going to throw any tantrum, if I'm going to roll, scream, yell, my mama is not going to give me the screen time. So you should be very firm and consistent. So in this case, you will be the boss. And when you don't have a healthy boundaries, your children will be the boss. So you should, that is why I'm always, like I have already mentioned, that you have to do tarbiyah. That is, you have to teach your kid about what is the good manners and what is the Islamic manners, good manners, values, and all these things. You have to teach them in an informal way. So once they reach the age of 7, then maybe you can teach them in a formal way. The next is, it reduces conflicts. Reduces conflicts in the sense, for example, if we'll take the same scenario, like your child is throwing a tantrum for the screen time, and your child knows, when you have a healthy boundaries, your child knows that mama will not give me even I throw so much of tantrum. And for example, if your child is asking for snacks during the meal time, the child should know, okay, even if I throw tantrum and even if I scream, my mama will not give me. So the tantrum level will be, to some extent it will be less. So that is what it is mentioned, that it reduces conflicts. And know what you expect. So the child will know, okay, for maybe it works for grown up children, because the toddlers, they are in exploration stage, that they are not able to control their emotions and feelings. But when it comes to grown up children, they know, okay, if I'm going to school late today, I will not be entered into the class. I will not be allowed to enter into the class. So they know the consequences. So that is what it has mentioned as know what to expect. So when you have a certain rules and boundaries with your children, so they will expect, okay, if this is the study time, this is the reading time, and this is the play time that I can go and play. So this is I should not ask for snacks. Even if they ask for snacks, they should know that they will not get it. It is not that strict kind of parenting, but maybe if they're asking for snacks during the meal time, you can serve that snacks along with the food. So in this way, you can set the healthy consequences. So the children will know what to expect in this. Then being consistent. So you should be consistent and firm. So when your child, even after throwing so many plays, some parents, what they do, because of maybe tiredness or because of the all day, tension and all these things, they just give up during tantrums. So they just give in between tantrums, and this tantrum will be a learned behavior, whether it is a toddler or whether it is a young children. So this will not happen with the grown up children. So when you give in between the tantrums, the child will learn, okay, if I throw tantrum, if I cry, if I bang my head, if I hit somebody else, then my mama will give me the screen time, my mama will give me the chocolates. So you have to be consistent, you have to be firm. When your child is crying, you cannot, shout or you cannot yell. Be with them, acknowledge the feelings, validate the feelings, try to console them. Please don't go away from them. Maybe if they don't want to be, they don't want yourself to be with them, or they don't want yourself to sit with them, you just go away. So until they get relaxed, then after that, maybe after some time, come to them, and then you talk about like what it is good, why it's not recommended, or why it's not good to have the food or snacks during the mealtime, and all. Maybe you can explain it, but in a gentle way. So this is all about gentle parenting. So this gentle parenting is the core of the gentle parenting is all about emotional regulation. So only when you are able to control your own emotions and feelings, you will be able to control your child's emotion and feelings. Remember this: a frustrated parent cannot calm a frustrated child. And modeling the behavior. Only when you model the behaviors, like if you don't want your child to have a mobile, or if you don't want your child to watch screen, watch movies, watch TV while having a food, then you should model the same behavior. Then you should not watch TV. You should not have the mobiles. So the same thing, whether it is a good or bad, whether using a good words, using wise words, and whatever the values that you have to follow with your spouse, within your family members. So children live by what they see. So children, they look at you, and then they will model the same behavior. They will follow the same. They will follow the footsteps of their parents. Then have patience. And most people, they come to me and ask me, ma'am, because in my parenting program, like I teach all about this, and then after some time they come to me, ma'am, after setting boundaries and consequences, my child he's being the same, ma'am. He's not responsible. How to change that, ma'am? See, you have to have patience. It cannot be achieved overnight. See, gentle parenting is not, is not any like any, you cannot say something special. It's a parenting, that's it. But you have to be conscious and mindful of your own actions and emotions. So you have to have patience. It cannot be achieved overnight. The next thing, so parenting styles and bullying. In today's life, like most of the parents, like we have been raised in a different way. Okay, so we all must have been, your parent must have scolded you, slapped you, beat you, hit you when you make any mistakes. But here we are going to talk about the same thing, parenting styles and bullying. That parenting is called as traditional parenting, that is carrot and stick parenting. It's nothing but when you do something wrong, you will be given a punishment. So this is what we are going to talk about, parenting styles and bullying. Remember that we are raising the children for the world that does not exist, because our parents, raised, because we are doing the parenting, we are following the footsteps of our parents, according to, like, we are changing some adjustments in the parenting according to our own judgments. So our parents, they have followed their parents, and it's like, going the ancestors, and so it is a kind of traditional parenting. But this parenting, it takes a lot of time and practice and patience. So are you a strict parent or over controlling parent? Some people know that they are so strict with the children, and some people, they don't know whether they are strict or whether they are over controlling. So over controlling is nothing but we are not giving any opportunity to explore. We are not giving any opportunity to the children. We are not making them to be independent. We are not allowing them to, explore. We are not giving autonomy to the children. We are not giving any choices to the children. So this is a kind of over controlling. And I don't know that after, reading so many parenting reading about so many parenting, then I came to know that I was doing a helicopter parenting. Like I was hovering over my child, my son, that I will not allow my son to, touch this and touch that. So I was always behind my son because I feel that, okay, if he goes, like whether he will fall. So I always had that fear. So you should not do that. Just give them the space to explore so that they will learn. Only when they fall down, they will know, okay, this is the place that I fell down that day, so I should not go to this place. So only when they experience the consequences, they will be better. When they will be better, when they know better. So this strict kind of parenting is being so strict that you always follow that. You always, want your child to get good marks in studies. You always want your child to be so disciplined, and you sometimes yell at your child for not being, being responsible. So immediately you lose your temper and you yell at your children. So what happens when you yell at your children? This is a major problem that we are doing here. So when you yell at your children, so we are kind of like we are doing, verbal bullying here. So we are using harsh words here, and words can most parents think that, okay, I'm not hitting my child, I'm just scolding my child. This scolding itself does a lot of harm. So we are just, making a child to respond only when we yell at them. So we are just conditioning the brain only. We are conditioning the children's brain only when to respond in a way that only when we raise our voice. So for example, if your child is watching television, or if your child is playing with somebody else, or child in the park, and you're saying it's time to go to home, your child is not ready to come, and you're just telling it for once and twice and thrice. After that, immediately you lose your patience, and then because you have so much of work at home, you have to come back and you have to do that work. So what happens? You immediately yell at your child. So they will listen to you. So this is what we are doing it actually. So to make them listen, so make your words very short, simple, and crisp. So when you do this is also a kind of verbal bullying. So they will be, they will be emotionally upset, and psychologically it upsets the child, and also it lowers the children's IQ and self-confidence. So it develops the fear of trust, and children will be very aggressive. That so parents come to me and say, my child is so aggressive, he's rebellious, he's giving back answers, ma'am. So I will ask, is there anybody who behaves the same in your house, or is your child is watching television, any this kind of, or playing any these kind of 3D games? So immediately they come up with the answer, yes, ma'am, my husband does this. No, he watches a lot of this type of movies, ma'am. So this is the reason behind. So when a child is so aggressive, then it might uh, learn from you, either from you or the people who surround them, or from the television. So research was conducted on a newborn baby, and that newborn baby can overhear its parents whenever they engage in a heated argument. So when that baby when that baby grows, it is most vulnerable to exhibit child's behavioral issues. So when that baby is easily influenced by its parents, then think about the grown-up children and also the teenagers. They also will be, they get easily influenced by the parents. So now tell me, whom do you think is responsible for the child's behavior? If you ask me, I would say it's definitely the parents. I'm not telling it. It also, the research says that it is the parents. So if there is a problem with your child, then somebody has to correct the parent. So when you keep on yell at your child, it's a kind of verbal bullying. Your child will become aggressive. Your child will learn to tell lies, and your child also will react like you, because when you lose your temper, you hit. Because at the time, what happens is, when you lose your temper, we have a almond shaped part in our brain called amygdala. This amygdala is responsible for the stress hormone. So what happens is, a mind, when this amygdala, when our brain perceives some threat, the amygdala goes into fight, flight, or freeze response. So when your child is not listening to you, or when your child is misbehaving you, and when at that time you feel that your mind perceive it as some threat, and that immediately you give it back. You feel like hitting them, you feel like yelling at them, whether they are in the park or whether they are in the party, because you feel embarrassed at the moment, right? So you feel embarrassed, and then immediately you make your child to sit, or you just yell at them, or you just show hard faces, or you just scold them. So what happens is, at that moment your brain will be in the fight moment, and most of the blood flows through your face and to the hands. And that is why people, when they are so much tense, when they are so much of anger, they immediately hit the opposite opponent person. So, and that is why we are hitting our children when we have so much of anger in our mind. So when we are so much frustrated, please take a break, take a pause, take a break for at least 10 minutes. Just go to your room, just lie down, or just have some cold water, or splash some cold water. So take a break, like tell your child, no, I'm so angry right now. If I'm going to speak, it will not be right. So I'm going to take a pause. I'm going to take a break for 10 minutes. Maybe I will come later. I will come after, and then I'll talk to you. So if a small pause helps you to be calm at the moment, here we are just modeling the behavior, and also we are showing how to control our emotions, because when we are flooded with big emotions, we have to take a pause and do the simple breathing exercise, count from 1 to 10, or do any simple vigor. So if you do that, the children will know, okay, even if I'm getting angry, if I'm so much frustrated, that I should do the same thing from what mama did, what papa did. So this is what we are modeling the behavior here. So, and also when you yell at the children will be more likely to become bullies or friends of bullies. And that is what the parenting styles and the bullying is interlinked. And also they lack motivation to do things when you keep on yell at them, and when you are too much strict towards them. And also they will become a people pleasers. So what happens when you keep on yell at them? So instead of yelling at them, we can give them the positive emotional response. That is nothing but saying that what I said, this telling them, okay, mama is not so much angry, that I'm going to take time, that I'm going to inside, and then I'll come back. So this is what you have to shift your thoughts from negative to positive. And there are few ways to stop being over controlling is, please keep your expectations low. You cannot expect a toddler to do the work of 7-year-old. You cannot expect a 7-year-old to be like an adult. Okay. So this is what I'm telling, that keep your expectations low. So don't expect your child to be perfect in all. We are absolutely not perfect. Indeed, no parent is perfect. Okay. Parenting is all about unlearning and learning. It is a lifelong journey that we have to teach our children, which is unlearning. So you cannot expect your child to be perfect when you are not perfect. So always try to have an open communication with your children, and give choices to them, give autonomy to them, and sit with them and problem solve together. And here also I would like to remind you that changes cannot happen overnight. So children need freedom and guided independence to grow up into a responsible and successful individual. So do you say no to your kids? How often do you say no to your kids? Because child is asking for TV. No, this is not a time to watch TV. A child is asking for a chocolate. No, I cannot give you a chocolate. A child is asking for something. Mama, can I go out with my friends? No, this is not a time. This is so dark that you cannot go out with your friends. So when you are saying no, sometimes the child will be upset. But saying no to your child helps them with setting boundaries and limits. Okay, the child know, okay, this is not, if mama is telling this is not good, okay, the child will eventually, they learn, okay, this is not good, this is right. So if you want to raise a well-mannered child, we need to say no at times. And also this also takes a lot of practice. So when can you say no? Sometimes no means no. Then when your child is in danger, or when your child hits somebody else, you should say that no, you should not hit others. No, you're not allowed to go out this time. You're not allowed to touch that hot. You're not allowed to touch the hot stove. So like this, sometimes when your child is in danger, when you want your child to be at the right place, then you have to say no. At the same time, do you agree when your child says no? Most of the parents, they don't agree with the child when they say no. See how a child feels when you say no. Similarly, you have to think about how, you have to be in your child's shoes, and then you have to think about that, and you have to understand and respect that respectful disagreements. So you have to accept their no, because you have to simply, like, we say that, okay, if a child is not ready to study, if a child is telling no, mama, no, I'm not interested to study right now, then please understand why your child is telling no. Maybe the child might not be heard, your child might need connection at that time, your child might be hungry, your child might be frustrated. So ask your child, just have an open communication with your children, why you don't want to study. See, yesterday, a small thing happened with my son. Like, after studying, he has to read some verses from the Quran, and that he has to memorize it yesterday. So he did not do that. And I asked him why, and he said, no, I'm not in the mood to read Quran right now, and it's not getting into my mind, he said. Then I told him that, okay, take 15 to 20 minutes of break, and then maybe you can get back, and then you can read the Quran again. And after 20 minutes also, he said, no, I'm not ready to go and read the Quran. Okay, fine. I left it to him, because, and he said, tomorrow morning you wake me up at 6:30 a.m. so that I will wake up, and then I'll memorize the Quran, he said. So once, because he's 10 years old, and when your child is not listening to you, when your child, when your child is not accepting your pleas, maybe he wants rest at that time, he want to relax that time, because from the evening, like, he was studying, because he had exams today. So that is why maybe he was not ready to read the Quran, and he need to watch, like, he want to watch television, and that is why he said, no, I'm not having interest to read. So at times you have to accept their pleas, accept their respectful disagreements, you have to accept their no's. And also you can tell your child, like, only when they experience the consequences, because if they are not reading the Quran, or obviously he will not be able to recite the Quran, and he will not be able to recite the verses to the Ustad. And obviously Ustad will scold him. So he should know that if I am not reciting, if I am not reading the Quran, if I am not reciting to memorizing the Quran, I will, for sure, I am going to get a scoldings from Ustad. So once they experience, or once they know the consequences, they will do it better. So that's why it is always healthy to have a healthy boundaries and healthy consequences. And why do people think disobedience is a lack of respect when it comes to children? See, yesterday I told my child that, okay, you have to read Quran, and he said, no, I'm not in the mood to read the Quran. So I thought, if it was the case before 3 years, I would think that, okay, he's disrespecting me, he's showing misbehaviors, he's so disobedient, I might think like that. But it is not only the parents, it's most of the people. When a child when a child shows some misbehaviors, when a child is disobedient, they automatically link it to the respect. So try to find out why your child is disobedient, why your child is reacting in this way, why your child is showing hard faces. Let me ask you a few questions. Do you obey all the commands of those you respect? Maybe let it be your husband, or anything, anyone. So do you obey all the commands of those you respect without questioning them? For example, if somebody is asking you to do this, do that, they are commanding you, they are demanding you to do that immediately. Will you be happy to listen to that commands and demands? No, nobody likes that. So treat your child the way you want to be treated. And if you do that, if your husband is commanding you to do something, and okay, you are doing it, is that respect? You're doing out of respect, or you're doing out of fear? It is fear, absolutely, right? And so if disobedience is nothing to do with respect, it's all about, more to do with the context. So please try to focus why your child is behaving in this way, instead of focusing too much on why he is hurting me, why he is using bad words, and why he is so rebellious. So instead of that, maybe you can think about that, what your child what is going on inside them that made them feel the need to hurt us? Why he is doing it to me? So what is the reason behind it? So try to find out the reason why your child is disrespecting you. It is all about connecting before correcting a child. So whenever you feel like correcting your child, please get back, stay away, maybe take a pause, and then come to connect with your children. So when your child is not listening to you, You just, maybe you can ask yourself whether your sounds bossy, or whether you are requesting your child, or you are demanding your child, or whether you have taken time to connect with your child. So ask yourself these questions, so that you will know, no, I haven't spent time with my child today, so I have to spend time with my child today. Maybe that is why he's reacting in this way. Because when, as we being an adult, we know that how to, respond back and how to react. But when your spouse is not giving time for you, like, how do you feel that? You will not talk to him. You will, some people, they talk openly, they have open communication that, no, what you're doing is not right. I'm no, I don't like it this way that you're doing it. So, but when it comes to children, some children, they will not be open, they will not be open, they'll not ready to share with you also. So only when you build the trust, and when you have a good communication, the basement, when you build a good communication, then only they will come up and share with you. For all these things, building trust and having an open communication, all these things, we need to have a lot of patience, and it cannot be achieved overnight. It needs a lot of time and patience, practice. So it is not easy. But when your child is in, when your child is not well, at that moment, we can take it as an opportunity, and to build the trust and the connection. So child abuse or parental discipline. So when it comes to discipline, parents straight away, they link the discipline with punishment. So discipline is all about to teach. That is what I said, that the tadik, the age from the 7 years to 14 years, you have to teach your children. So you have to teach the Islamic discipline. It is all about disciplining the child. So when the discipline gets into the punishment, it will be a child abuse. So when you hit your children, sometimes it will be like a bullying. That is, that you are using physical bullying on your child. So you're using physical pressure on your child. You're using physical force, like hitting, spanking, giving corporal punishment. All these comes under physical discipline. So this is also, when it crosses the line, it's called as child abuse. And when you don't speak, some parents, they don't speak to their children if they do something wrong, maybe with the grown-up children or teens. So they give silent treatment, and silent treatment is actually causes emotional trauma, and also children feels very bad. They feel that they are not satisfied, or they are not, they did not had the opportunity to explain or to share their likes, dislikes, sadness, what made them to do like that, what made them to behave in that way. So if you are a toddler parent or a young parent, then you have a good opportunity to bond with your children. And if you have a grown up children, then it is not too late. Just try to connect with your child before you correct your children, whether they behave, they don't, whether if they're not behaving well, or whether they have a problem in their studies. Please try to connect with them before you correcting them. And please remember that always correct them in the private, and connect them in public, and also praise them in public. So when you give them the rewards, if they are doing something good, just tell your children, have an open communication, just tell it, what you did was, mama liked it very much, and the words which you have used and was mashallah, alhamdulillah, it gave me immense happiness. So just try to appreciate your children, so that the children will, when something like, when some behavior is getting attention, a positive attention, the children will like to do more and more. When the child is doing some negative behavior, especially with the toddlers and younger children, when they are doing a negative behavior, and when you are giving so much attention, because we as a human tendency, it's human tendency to think about, to notice only the negative behavior, leaving the positive beside. It's a natural. So instead of now focusing on the natural, try to shift your thoughts to positive. So when your child is doing some positive behavior that you're liked by you, you can immediately, you can appreciate them. Maybe you can reward them with some material possessions. Material possessions can be very rare, and you cannot do it, you cannot give them the chocolates, or you not give them whatever they ask for, whatever they demand for according to your budgets. But still, material rewards is not recommended. Maybe you can give them some extra playtime, or some privileges that you can give them. So this is what the rewards is all about. And when the negative behavior is getting attention, it is also be like repeated. So don't ignore the behaviors. Maybe if it is causing any trouble, those negative behaviors causing trouble to anybody else, like to others, maybe you can give a concentration. Maybe you can think about it. If it is not getting, it's not making any problem, it's not troubling you, then please don't give attention for that negative behaviors. So this is de-escalation techniques. So how can we resolve, how can we de-escalate our anger, our frustration, our tension, and all these things? So take a pass. So take a pass, go to your room, like what I said, splash some cold water or drink some cold water, because the cold water immediately, instantly makes you to get cool. And the best exercises, breathing exercise, count from 1 to 2, because you have to, because when you're doing breathing exercise, you'll be mindful of your breathing, that inhale and exhale, you have to be so mindful of your breathing exercises that immediately, instantly makes you to be calm at the moment and act calm even if you're not. This is the one way that you can do it. Even if you feel like, not being calm, even if you feel like yelling, you tell yourself, all is well, all is well, all is well, that I should be calm, or recite Salavat. So all these things helps you to remain calm at the particular moment, the certain moment. Give a choice. So when your child is not listening to you, when a child, like, he don't want to read Quran, means okay, let it be. Maybe you can give the some other choice. If your child don't want to write maths as a homework, like maybe you can ask your child, okay, will you write the science first, and then maybe we can go on to the maths later. So give a choice. So if your child is don't want to have a rice, maybe you can have some other alternative, like maybe you can give them the chapati. This, see, you have to take some effort. Maybe you can tell me, no, this is not possible, ma'am. This has to be possible. Maybe you have to, at least, if your child is not eating something which he don't like, please at least include one meal that which is liked by your children. So that is all. Giving a choice always makes the child feel empowered, so that the child feels the words are, their voices are heard, and try to understand their perspective. So from being in the child's shoes, why my child is telling no, why my child is reacting in this way, and why my child did not had his food today from the school, and why he made his papa angry. So all these things, maybe you can talk to him, talk to them. You can sit and talk to them. When you sit and talk to them, when you have an open communication, most of the problem will get solved. It also helps us to connect with our children and ignore the behavior if you can. So just ignore the negative. If you don't want a negative behavior to get attention, then please ignore the behavior. Acknowledge the feelings. Try to connect with your child. Try to validate your child's feelings. Why my child is doing this? Okay, if your child is crying it, maybe you can ask him, like, what happened? Just validate the feelings. Okay, I know you really need this today, but mama cannot give it to you. Maybe tomorrow I can give it to you. So today you have a stomachache or you have a toothache, that you should not eat this. I know you are so much worried that you wanted to have this. I know you're feeling very sad, but please, you cannot have it right now. So try to acknowledge them. So when you speak them in the right way, when you speak them in a soft tone, they will understand it and they will feel it better, because I'm experiencing all these things, and I'm trying it. And also you should know that when you follow this kind of parenting, like, you will experience so much of criticisms around you. So please don't give ears to those criticisms. Please follow what is good for your child. Apart, like, after giving so much of lectures, learning so many things, you, as a parent, you know your child better than anybody else. So think that in your mind. So do not give ears to unwanted comments of anybody else. Problem solve together. So sit and problem solve together with your child, and use humor to lighten the mood. Sometimes when you're very much angry, and immediately when you say some joke, immediately you will be good and your child will also be in a lightened mood. So use humor to lighten the mood. Now, this is the major thing that we're going to talk about: screen time on kids. So this is the one thing, that we are living in a digital era, that most of the parents, that they have the problem with the screen time on the kids. So do you know that 3D video games are harmful below the age of 12? Do you know that? So this 3D video games are very harmful for the children below the age of 12. Why? Means this 3D video games, most of the 3D video games, it just makes the child's brain to reflect. It is not making a child mind to think, like the 3D video games in the sense, like Subway Surfers, Temple Run, GT Vice City, Free Fire, and then car racing games and all these, and Dragon Ball Z. Many more games are there. So many games are there. So these are the some games which I know. So when the child is exposed to these games continuously, there is a vibration created in the brain due to the visual and the sound effects of these 3D video games. So what happens is the brain gets heated up fast, and so the blood pressure rises in the child. So when your child plays continuously for days, your child will have attention problems, concentration problems, and they will be very hyperactive. So this is the one reason, if a child is very hyperactive, then see to it whether your child is using the screen time wisely. So do you know that distance rule, if you're having a screen of, maybe if you're having a 40-inch TV, your child should sit away 40 into 5. That is 2, 5, 4 are 20, maybe 200 inches away from the screen. Okay. So this is how your child should sit, because a child should not sit in front of the TV. Maybe it may affect their growing eyes. Elimination rule. Elimination is nothing but the lights, the lightness, the brightness, the contrast, and all these should be 3 times. So the child should be away from the screen. That is 3 times it should be. Age appropriate TV programs, and this is very, very important here. Age appropriate. Make sure that your child is watching age appropriate TV programs, because most of the some, maybe you have to learn the parental control. Some movies, they have the age limit. For some movies, they put the age limit up to 12 years of above 13 years of age, above 11 years of age. So make sure your child is watching age appropriate TV programs. And also some series, even the cartoons the children they watch itself, they has the foul languages, and which is not recommended by American Academy of Pediatrics. So please make the screen time wisely, and if you get time, maybe sit with your child, sit and watch along with your child. So what is the effects that screen time we have on children? Sleep problems. So the children will have sleep problems. They have sleeping troubles if they're more exposed to playing games. It is not only 3D games, it is also 2D games. But make sure that your child is not watching 3D, playing video games. Maybe you might ask me, Mom, can we watch 3D movies? See, we are not watching 3D movies daily. Maybe occasionally it's okay. 3D movies, watching 3D movies occasionally it's okay, but make sure that your child is not playing 3D video games. If I ask you that whether you will allow your child to jump from the 9th floor, will you? No, right? Because the harmness is tangibly visible there. But when it comes to screens, the same thing happening there, because the child, we have alpha, theta, delta, all these waves, brain waves we have. When a child is continuously, when the child is exposed to these kind of games, 3D games, so these brain waves get altered permanently, and it will be very difficult to change it. And that is why where the struggles happens, that where the problem rises, that where your children will have difficult problems, your child will be so hyperactive, and all these things is because of screen time. So sleep problems, concentration problems, less time with family and friends, and children will not likely to mingle with family and friends. So they'll be in the mobiles, either in the mobile or the TV. It harms the brain and brain patterns, which I said right now. The brain patterns permanently, it changes the brain patterns, and your child will have a lot of concentration problems. They will not be able to concentrate in the studies. And these children who are playing the 3D games, the fast running games, when the children play all these things, they will not have that mind to play slow moving games, or slow kind of activities like drawing, painting. So all these, the children, they don't like to do all these things, because they are more happy with the fast moving games, because we have this dopamine pleasure hormone. So what happens is this, when we play all these things, this produces the happy hormone. It's kind of a pleasure that the child want to experience it again and again. And that is why children they always play, they don't like to play 2D games, but they are more interested towards playing the 3D games. Behavior problems, this aggression, rebellious, and giving back answers, and all these happens, impulsive, unable to control their impulsiveness. All these happens is because of one of the major reason is screen time. Fear of missing out. The child may feel fear of missing out when they are not able to play games. They feel that nobody is there with them, and they feel that they'll be so anxious that they develop anxiety and depression. It's prolonged use of the screen time. So make the usage of screen time wisely, and less time learning other ways to relax. Because when a child is fully engaged with the TV and the screen time, they will not find ways to relax by other ways. That they will not find time, or they don't know. First of all, mama, I don't know, mama, I feel very bored. If you tell them to go out and play, they will not do it. So this is one kind of addiction, that because they are motivated by the dopamine hormone, which gives them some kind of pleasure. And at last, it gives them anxiety, this anxiety which leads them to the depression. So guidelines to use screen time wisely. So for children 2 to 5, limit non-educational screen time to about 1 hour per weekday. So you can make your child to watch 1 hour daily, that is non-educational screen time. For children above 6, maybe you can allow them to watch for 2 hours, but make sure that you have healthy habits, that you have see, if today if you have to, I mean, 5 to 6 is that screen time means, then maybe you can watch for 5 to 5:30, and please don't make your child to watch more than 40 minutes, because continuously when they watch for 1 hour, no, they will have again, this will bring the anxiety, and they will be very anxious that they will not be able to concentrate. And also, if your child have some exams or some work in the schools, or they have to read something, they have to learn something, please make sure that your child is doing that first, and then you can then make them to watch any movies or watch any play games, whatever it is. Because when your child plays and then when it comes back to read or study, they will not have that attention, they will not have that concentration, they will not be so interested to study. So please make sure that you are making them to study first, and then maybe you can move on to watching the TV. So turn off all the screens during family meals and outings. So when you're with your family and outings, please make sure that you turn off all the screens and you spend time with your family and friends. And this is also kind of modeling the behavior. When it comes to the toddlers and young children, when it is out of mind, when it is out of sight, it will be out of mind. So please keep the remotes away from your children, take away the mobiles, and please don't keep it in front of your children, because if they ask, we cannot do anything. Again, it will end up at throwing tantrums and yelling, and all these happens. So please make sure that you're keeping it away, you're not showing it in front of your children. The elder children, the younger grown-ups, they will know, okay, because we have a boundaries and they will understand it. But younger children, it comes by a lot of practice. They will be responsible, they will understand it, but the thing is they cannot put into action. So having healthy boundaries and consequence always helps us to be the boss, or helps us to have the good parent-child bond. So learn about and use parental control. So please try to learn. If you don't know how to, about parental control, please try to learn about it. So avoid using screens as pacifiers, babysitters, or to stop tantrums. So if your child is throwing tantrum, you cannot make them to sit by giving the mobiles. And also, please don't give the screens as a pacifiers. And also don't make it as like, if you have a work that you have to finish it by that time, maybe some parents, they give the mobiles as a babysitters, because the people who don't have anybody to help them or anybody to take care of their children, they're the only ways that they can, maybe they turn on the TV, or they will give the mobiles as a babysitters. Please don't do that. Instead of them, get many educational toys are available, open-ended toys are available. Please invest in that, instead of investing your time and investing money in getting a costly mobile. So try to invest in the educational toys and open-ended toys. Turn off screens and remove them from bedrooms 30 to 60 minutes before the bedtime. So please make sure that you are turning off all the gadgets at least before 30 to 60 minutes of bedtime. So now, how can we improve our parent-child relationship? So this is the main thing after setting boundaries and after all these things. So how can you improve your parent-child? For example, if you have yelled at your child, so how can you repair that relationship? So how can you improve that relationship? Number one is empathizing with the child. This is the first and foremost. So be in your child's shoes. Understand why your child is reacting in this way. Understand why your child is saying no. So when you are being in your child's shoes, you will understand. So you are paraphrasing the context. You're paraphrasing what your child is telling you. So you will know better about your children. So always try to acknowledge their feelings, validate their emotions, so that please, you will know your child better. So empathize with your child. This is the one way that this is the first and foremost of improving the parent-child relationship. And apologies to your child. Say apologies. Say sorry. If you've done some mistake, say sorry. Because some children, even they make mistakes, they will not be ready to say sorry. It's because maybe they might see us, because when we fight with our spouse, or when we're using bad words to our spouse or to anybody else, and when we are not saying sorry, or when we are keeping our mouth shut for days, when we are not talking to them, the child will learn the same thing. The child will not talk to us. This happens with grown-up children. So try to model the behavior. When you want your child to apologize to you if they do something wrong, please try to apologize to your children. So in a simple words, treat your child how you want to be treated. That's it. Spend quality time with your child. So how can you spend quality time with your child? So you can have a one-on-one meetings, or you can have one-on-one time with the to each of your child. You can spend one-on-one time with your child. For example, if you're spending with your maybe you take half an hour for spending time with your first child. Maybe tomorrow you can have second child and third child. It is not about quantity, it is about quality. It is not about sitting together in the TV, sitting together in the room and your child is doing some other work and you're watching TV. It is not like that. Spend quality time. Just talk to them. Just take them outside. Because sometimes when my son is not, is acting properly, he misbehaves, like this is what I'm doing it. Like I take him outside because my husband is fully packed with the work. So I used to take him outside and we just go to some soup shops or some burger shops and then we have burger and then we'll come back. So he'll be very happy. So at that time, maybe he'll be more happy and he will just share so many things with me. So this is the one time that this is the one way that you can, spend quality time with your child. So give equal importance to each of the child. If you're spending a half an hour to first child, maybe tomorrow you can spend other time with your younger child. So this is the spending quality time always gives you the improve your parent-child relationship. And this apologizing to your child makes your relationship one step higher and closer. So always apologize for your mistakes, what you have done, and expect the meltdown. See, today your child will be a toddler and tomorrow he'll be like 7 years old and day after tomorrow he'll be 17 years old. So this is what the life is all about. This is what the childhood is all about. So the change is the constant thing that happens in our life. So the child will not be the same. So if your child is crying for chocolate today, maybe he will cry for some other thing tomorrow when he is grown up. So expect the meltdown. So you have to expect the breakdowns in your relationships. So when you experiencing the breakdowns with your parent-child relationship, immediately you can go to the first point, that is empathizing with your child. Again, come empathizing, apologizing, spending quality time. So when you do all these things, you can build a healthy relationship with your children. And when to get help. So when can you get help? So when to get help, and there's nothing but like you feel that after doing all these things, if you're not able to control your child's behavior and still your child is rebellious or showing some behavior, some kind of behavior which you don't like it and it's becoming a problem in your day-to-day life, then you have to consult your pediatric or you have to consult a therapist. That is when your child is unable to control the emotions, when your child is unable to manage the emotions, like he's so much like he hits everybody. He hates anybody else. He hates his friends. Or if you're getting a complaints daily from the school, if he's not able to control or manage his emotions immediately, like he throws anything, like whenever he is angry, he hit others or he bang himself or he hit himself. So it is becoming a problem. When it's becoming a problem in your day-to-day life, please consult a therapist. And poor impulse control. When your child is unable to control his impulsiveness, then you have to talk to the doctor, that is therapist. Failure to respond to discipline. And after disciplining so many things, after disciplining with them, with teaching and not giving punishment to all this, whatever they do, and after so many things, they end up at responding to your pleas, then you have to get help. And struggles in school. If you're getting a complaint, daily complaints from schools, from friends, from neighbors, and then you have to get help. Trouble with social interactions. If your child is not interacting with anybody else, if he is using some bad words, whenever if he wanted to speak with somebody else, he uses the bad words, or he don't want to, or he don't know how to use good words, or he don't know how to speak with others. So when he has a trouble with social interactions, then you have to get help. Self-injury. When your child is hurting himself, then you have to get help. And ODD, oppositional defiant disorder, attention ADHD, attention deficient hyperactivity disorder, and autism spectrum disorder. So all these kinds of when the child is unable to they are poor in impulse control, when they are difficulty in managing controlling emotions and feelings, when it becoming a problem in your day-to-day life, then you have to consult a therapist. This is my final thoughts. So what is your vision of your relationship with your children 20 years from now? So how your relation should be with your children right from the 20 years from now. And do you want your children to visit you, talk to you, or answer your phone calls when they grow up? Or you just want your child to be around? So you just want, okay, my child is there. You just want them to be still in your life, or you just want them to visit you, talk to you, share their likes, dislikes, share their happiness, sadness, everything with you. So this is the final thoughts you think about it. If you're looking to make changes to your parenting style or parent-child relationship, creating an environment that balances both love and support and boundaries can be beneficial to your entire family. So it's not that only with the only by spanking or only hitting, by hitting children will learn the discipline. No, it is not. You can show your immense love. You can show the immense love. You can respect your child because they are also humans. Okay, so respect your child. Give respect that what they need, because they will respect others without telling, they don't want to, we don't want to teach them. So we are just modeling the behavior here. So please show your immense love and support and boundaries that helps it be beneficial to your entire family. Questions. I hope you have learned a lot from this program and this workshop. I hope and I'm sure this will be beneficial, inshallah. Jazakallah khairan. If you have any questions, you can post it.
Thank you so much for delivering such a useful and informative session, sister. And we believe that all the participants got benefited from today's webinar. Participants, if you have any questions, please be sure to type your questions in chat box.
How to stop a 3-year-old from using bad words? See, because he or she is a toddler. This is the toddler age, so they are in the exploration stage. So if they are using bad words, maybe you can tell them when they are not using it. So when the negative, because when they use the bad words, immediately we tell them that don't do it. So don't talk like that. So don't tell them at that moment, at that particular moment. So maybe you can tell them later, but at that moment, when you keep on telling them that don't do that, don't repeat it, they will do it. So that's what I said, ignore the negative. So when the negative behavior is not getting attention, so they will stop it. So they are just in the toddler age. So this will definitely work for toddlers. So always praise the positive, ignore the negative. Yes, sister, alhamdulillah, I conduct workshops and I offer personal consultations also. I understand that. See, we are humans. We have good days, we have bad days, but realizing your mistake and apologizing to your child makes your relationship better, and also you will also get better. Okay, because it's not always possible to be polite with him. I agree. Even I'm taking workshops and I'm conducting so many. Like, I used to teach people about how to be calm, but at times I used to raise my voice and I used to be strict with my child. But think it is not possible. But still, going to your child, apologizing, sorry, mama, what mama did was very wrong. So I'm not going to do it again. So make sure that you are fulfilling that promise. That is what I'm telling it. Make the screen time wisely, because watching this YouTube is an unregulated site. If the child is watching something, it again leads to some other video. And again, this goes on. So it is an unregulated site. Please don't encourage your child watch this YouTube. If you have young children, maybe you can encourage them to watch YouTube Kids, but not this YouTube. If they are watching YouTube, please be with them. So whenever you get time, sit along with them and then watch whatever they are watching it. No. Walaikum salam. No, you cannot compare your child with others. Comparing, criticizing, it also brings them emotional. It is a kind of emotional bullying, and also it brings emotional trauma. The child will not be able to express, but still it brings a problem. So if I compare, he will do the things. No, you cannot do it. That's what I said. please, instead of comparing, why you want to compare, why you want to criticize? So instead of that, tell the good things that you wanted to. When your child is doing something good, concentrate on them, and then you can tell he's not doing that. See what you did on that day, maybe it was so good and mama liked it that time, so I want you to do the same way. So please don't compare it. Like if your child is getting less marks, why do you want to compare with other child? Okay, this time you got less marks, that's okay, because I am making up my mind the same way, because I used to be like my child has to get first rank because it was like that, but now it is okay if he gets less mark because he's not giving any NEET exams, he's not writing any public exam. That's okay. So make your mind, shift your thoughts from negative to positive. So it is all about parenting, is all about parents, it is not about children. Any questions? Things they do all that. That's what I said. Don't give them the material rewards. Please don't give them the material rewards. Maybe occasionally it's okay. And that is what I said. Material rewards is not recommended. So give them some privileges, maybe extra playtime, extra screen time, or whatever they like. Maybe the food which they like, you can take them outside and you can get them the food which they like. You can give to them. So don't make it as a habit, because when you when you reward them with material, give them the material rewards, it will be like a bribe, because you are bribing a child to do something good, and then you are giving it something. So don't do it. So material rewards is not acceptable and it is not recommended. How to be a part of the sessions in future? You can just ask the sisters, Sincere Foundation sisters, they will give my number. How to behave when a child is wrong? If it is a toddler, if your child is a toddler, a young child, then don't give attention to negative behavior. This is what I'm telling. Connect with your child before you correcting them. So don't always say this, that what you done was wrong and what you did was not good. In the public place, you made me to react in this way. I was so embarrassed. Don't give lectures. If you want your child to listen, make your sentence so simple and crisp. And also, if your child is misbehaving, that is what I said. We always link the disrespect to disobedience to respect. So when your child is disobeying, we immediately connect with respect, that my child is not respecting me. So always try to connect with your child before you correct them. And if you want to correct them, like, okay, what you did was wrong, maybe you can take them to the room and then you can correct them, whether they are a small child or a bigger child. So no, so correcting in the public is not acceptable. Please always take them to the room or to the private place, and then you can tell them whatever that you would like to tell them or you would like to advise them. My child is 8 years old. I tell him to pray, but sometimes he doesn't get the mood to. So should I keep telling him until he prays? Can I force him to pray at this age? See, you can tell them. That's what I said yesterday. The same thing happened to me. Like, we tell them. And some parents, they come to me and they say, ma'am, my child is not responsible. She has to go to school. My child is around 8 years. She has to go to school, but she's not getting ready, ma'am. We have to push her back. Like, we have to eat this, your bus will come and all these things we have to tell, ma'am. So the same thing is happening with my child also. So he knows that he will get the bus by 8:30, but thing is, he'll not do it. Like, I have to tell him, like, do this, do that. Maybe sometimes they are children. So somewhere I read about this, the childhood has 960 Saturdays. So the childhood is only a short period. So it is okay to tell a number of times, but still don't trouble them. Like, should not come by compelling them. So the child should know the consequences. So eventually they will learn, because when you compel him to pray, the child will not have the interest to pray again. So please don't compel it. The child will, eventually, gradually they will do it. So don't compel it. Maybe he is just 8 years old. That's okay. No problem. How to encourage teenagers to read Quran and perform Salah. For teenagers, that's what it is not too late to rebond with your child. So please try to connect with your child. This is what I'm going to tell. And also model the behavior, because teenagers, they will understand it. And also you should have the consequences. When you have the consequences, they should know that if I'm not praying, that maybe you can take away some privileges that they have. Maybe if they're having something that which they like it, you can take away that privilege. Maybe you can tell them that if you're not praying, maybe you will not be allowed to watch TV. If you're not praying, you will not be allowed to play with your friends. So you have to be strict in this. So this is what the consequences is all about. So make healthy consequences. Some people, they say, I don't give negative consequences because taking away the privileges is not good. But I prefer you can you can do this. Taking away some privileges, make them to feel better, make them to do better. Because my child, he's a slow eater, like he's not eat on time. So we have this rule, like if he's not finishing his food within half an hour, maybe if he's not finishing his breakfast in a half an hour, he will not be allowed to watch TV until lunchtime. If he is not finishing his lunch within a half an hour, then he will not be allowed to watch the TV for the rest of the day. So this is the consequences that we have. So take away some privileges, because it definitely works well with because teenagers, they love to go outside and they love to play with their friends. So take away privileges, but don't make this don't make this happen regularly. When you do this regularly, the children will know, okay, what mama will do, she will not allow me to go and play with my friends. Okay, let it happen. So don't do it. Occasionally, maybe you can do, but try which is suitable for you. So sit with your child and you can talk to him why you are doing this. So what shall I do if you don't pray on time? What shall I do if you don't read Quran on time? So you can ask him and you can set consequences. You can sit and talk to him, and then you can problem solve together. Why do children start hitting themselves if we don't give them anything? Yes, because that's what I said. When we are flooded with big emotions, most of the blood flows through our face and the hand, and that is why we feel like hitting others. And when we are so much tense, we feel like hitting the children. So the same thing with the children also. When they are not unable to control their own emotions and feelings, they hit others because they are just learning. So please, always, this is all about emotional regulation. So please try to teach about emotions, how to handle the emotions, teach about the warning signs of the bad emotions and good emotions, joyness, happiness, frustration, anger, and all these things you can teach your toddlers. My toddler has become so aggressive after the arrival of his little sister. I understand he couldn't get much attention as before, but it's not possible to give the same attention. So what should we do? See, everyone has this problem, and this I forgot to inform here. So people, they say, ma'am, my child was so responsible and he was very silent, but now he's so aggressive, ma'am. When I ask him whether you are a working parent or whether you have a child, they say, ma'am, yes, ma'am, I have 10-month-old, 1-year-old. Today in my session also, I was telling the same thing to my clients. So when your child is not getting attention, all these problem arises. So what you can do is, maybe whenever you get time, like whenever your child is sleeping, the young child is sleeping, please try to spend as much as time with your elder child. So give quality time over quantity. So talk to him, play with them. Playing with them also gives them the pleasure and also releases our stress that we have on us. So please, I understand that, but still you have to give him attention. Maybe if you have a nannies or if you have anybody to take care of your younger child, maybe you can give your child to them, and please give attention to your elder child. Is beating totally prohibited in Islam? Yes. And there is an hadith that if your child is not praying, then beat and make them to pray. But still it is for praying. But children are amana from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It is totally prohibited in Islam. You are not allowed to beat your children. It's a kind of bullying that you're doing. This is what I said. It's a child abuse. This is what I said. Parents are disciplining the children in the form of child abuse. You're doing a child abuse. You're doing a physical discipline, your physical abuse for disciplining your child. How to solve fights between siblings, especially when both solve fights between siblings, especially when both want the same thing. My daughter is 3 years and 9 years old. My second shouldn't cry a lot as she got fakes before. If they want something, the same thing, why can't you get the same thing for both of your children? Maybe if they want the same toy, you can get the same toy for your younger child and for your elder child as well. Because this definitely creates, quarrels, definitely creates rivalry between siblings. So we have to be equal. We should not be partial. We should not have favoritism towards one kid and other kid. So if you're getting the toy, please get two. So that your child, both the child will have that. So that maybe you can, to some extent, you can avoid these fightings. Anything else? It's not about toys. My elders book fall under this category. Fine. In this case, maybe you can tell your elder child, because this is what I was telling, and thank you so much for asking this question. The same happens with my family also. My son is 10 years old and my younger one is 2 years old. So think about it, how it causes problems. So when my son takes his book for studying, when my son takes whatever, like whether he takes pen or painting, drawing, sheets, whatever it is, my child, she goes there and then she'll ask for it. So in this case, what happens is, like, I've already informed my son about that. Like, this if your sister is coming and asking to you, you can give it to her. I am responsible for getting it back and give it to you. Okay. So maybe for she'll have that for hardly 2 or 3 minutes. So after that, she will put it down so that you can get it. So in this way, you can make your elder child to understand, and then at that moment, you can get the things from your elder child, and then you can give it back to your younger child. So in this way, we can solve the problem. Your thoughts on age group between first and second child. Sister, this is all about the parents. If you have a people to take care of themselves, but ideal age gap would be 5 years of age. After that, like some people, they plan within 2 years, so it is up to them. If you have a good health and body, mind, then it is up to people, it's up to the parents that they can plan after 2 years. But ideal age would be 5 years.
Alhamdulillah, sister. On behalf of Sister Syed Foundation, I want to express our sincere gratitude to Sister Syed Ali Fathima for today's effective presentation, sister.
I couldn't get you, sister.
Sister, I would like to thank you for the good webinar you presented today. MashaAllah, you really did very well.
Thank you so much, sister. Yeah, thank you so much.
So you can connect us through WhatsApp, Facebook, and Instagram. You can also subscribe to our YouTube page, Sincere Aid Foundation. To know more about our organization, you can visit our website, www.sincereaid.org. May Allah grant us all righteous children who become sadaqah jariyah for us even after soul leave this earth. Ameen. So we can end the session now. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.